It's Monday and the professor just asked you to read the first 8 chapters from your textbook by Wednesday. Don't freak out, because in this week's episode, I'm going to teach you how to read your textbook in a way that's going to save you a lot of time. So the issue with most textbooks is that they're filled with a ton of fluff information. Information that you don't necessarily need to pass your upcoming exams or to write your paper, whatever it is that you're using the textbooks for. So what I'm going to do now is teach you a strategy that's going to really target all of the key information in each of the chapters in your textbook. So the first thing that you want to do when you get your textbook and you open it up to the chapter that you're focusing on is you're going to want to read the objectives for that chapter. This is basically giving you an outline of what it is that you should know by the end of this chapter. After you've looked at the objectives, most textbooks also have key points at the end of the chapter, or these are like summary points. You also want to read those as well. What those key points are going to do is it's going to force you to hone in on the need to know information, the really important stuff that's probably going to be on your next test. After you've read the objectives and the summary points at the end of the chapter, the next thing that you want to do is you want to go ahead and skim through the chapter by looking at all of the bolded fonts in that chapter. So all of the subtitles, the titles of the paragraph, any of the key points italicized, anything that really just stands out in the form of text. The next thing that you want to do is you want to take a look at all of the tables and graphs that are in the chapter, because this is going to again give you key information. They wouldn't take the time to put that information both in text format and in table or picture format if it wasn't something that was important. So go ahead, read all the information in those tables, in those little alert boxes that are in a lot of textbooks, and make sure that you understand that information. After you've done that, after you've looked at all the tables and all the graphs and all of the images in the textbook, what you want to do is you want to go back and read the first 2 sentences of each paragraph in that chapter. Why do you want to do this? Because of the way that most paragraphs are structured in textbooks. Usually, the first sentence of every paragraph is going to give you a fact. And then the second sentence is going to explain that fact. And basically what it's done for you is tell you this is important and this is why it's important. And that is going to give you key information that's probably going to be on your next text. So once you've read the outline, the key points, or the summary at the end of the chapter, gone through and looked at all of the bold fonts or all the fonts that really stand out, looked at all the tables and the graphs and the pictures, gone back and read the first 2 sentences of each paragraph, you should have a good understanding of the information in that chapter. And you should know all of the need to know information, all of the key points that the professor wants you to get from that chapter. But what I do want to note is if you don't understand what the chapter is about or what that particular section is about by reading the first 2 sentences of that paragraph, then you are going to need to go ahead and read the full paragraph, because again, the whole point of this is for you to get the most out of the reading. But if you can't by reading those first 2 sentences, then you need to do your due diligence and read the chapter so that you understand the information. So this is what's going to help save you a whole bunch of time, because you're not sitting there and reading the whole chapter from beginning to end. I hope that you found this helpful, and if you did, go ahead and leave me a comment below. I want to know if you've ever heard of this strategy before and if you used it. I will see you all in next week's video. Bye! Have you ever heard of intuitive eating? Well, if you haven't, the way that I can explain it simply, it is when you are 100% in tune